What's the dumbest rule your school ever enforced? Dildos were banned. The school never thought they would have to print those words. You would think it was a given, until a senior bought 100 dildos and snuck them around the school every day for 2 weeks straight. In grade school, we weren't allowed to play on the playground equipment when it snowed. Eventually, we weren't allowed to play with snow or even go near it. I got in trouble for sitting in snow. This was in Minnesota where it snows half the year. Recess basically consisted of milling around the blacktop for 30 minutes. My friend nearly got suspended for wearing a trench coat. It was the late 90s, probably didn't help that he had long hair, was shy, and weird. Locked the only boys' bathroom because someone wrote on the wall in Sharpie. It wasn't even anything rude or inappropriate either. It was just the word hi or something like that. Didn't unlock the door until one boy wet himself and parents threatened to sue. Not really a rule, but the toilet paper holders are outside of the stalls on a wall, so you have to calculate before taking a shit how much you need and hope that it was enough. No slow dances at the prom. Can't be standing around in groups more than 4. Gang mentality. Banned all backpacks, bags on campus. Students were expected to somehow carry everything they needed in hand. This was especially challenging if you had a non-ideal locker placement. Rule: no duct tape on clothing. Reason: some girls thought they could get past the no-ripped jeans rule by covering the tears with duct tape. It became a fad and everyone started doing it, so it got banned. A kid in my AP literature class found a loophole and made an entire outfit out of red and black duct tape. I mean shorts, a t-shirt and a jacket and shoes. When the school tried to suspend him they couldn't because the rule was no duct tape on clothes. It said nothing about clothes made out of duct tape. He won the argument and even wore the outfit a few more times to say fuck you to the school and principals. Lol. When I was in junior school, UK boarding school in the 80s, we were not allowed to say okay as it was considered slang and not befitting the young ladies and gentlemen that we should aspire to be. We also had to have a comb and a handkerchief on us at all times. On top of that, we weren't allowed to have our hands in our pockets because it looks slovenly. Zero tolerance just means that if someone starts a fight with you, you fight back as hard as you can. You're going to get suspended for defending yourself anyway, might as well make it worthwhile. They outlawed bracelets because there was an article in a magazine somewhere saying they advertised what sexual acts you were open for based on their color. Then someone tried to outlaw wristwatches for the same reason. Girls weren't allowed to show their ankles. The dean had a pack of socks in her office she would give the students and make them wear. Only girls though. This was the 2000s. Dumbest rule: zero tolerance for fighting. This meant both the kid who started the fight and the kid who got beat on were both suspended. If the kid who got beat on just took it, he was just sent home for the rest of the day. If he dared to fight back, he was suspended for a week just like the kid who started the fight. Here's the truly stupid part: the school administrators couldn't explain how this led to more brutal fights. If you were caught on your phone they'd take it until the end of the week. You'd get it back at 3:30 on Friday. Parents went mental and a few even came together and sent bills through for part of the phone bills. They ditched that rule after 2 weeks. Edit: phones were kept overnight in the school in the office until that Friday if they were confiscated. No safe or anything, just in a plastic box. No getting it back at the end of the day. You just had to go for days without a phone, even at home, just in case there's any confusion around that. Lol. Students must keep their hair short. I got detention for pooping more than 10 minutes but I have served stomach cramps and I asked why and they had no answer. We were not allowed to put our coats on until we were outside. During winter when we would have a storm, we had to go outside in the rain to put our coats on or face receiving a detention if we put them on in the corridor. No fighting, enforced by punishing the kids who were getting hit. It was a year-long battle. It showed that the administration wasn't all that smart in wording rules. First was no gang clothing. Not one person admitted it was for a gang. People just happened to like a certain team. Second was no hats, unless religious. You would have never guessed that so many became religious overnight. Finally no head coverings. That one finally stuck, but it wasn't without issue. Try telling the valedictorian that her head covering wasn't allowed. P.S. Everyone liked her, and we all had her back when it came time. No hot drinks. Rumor said it was because the principal burned himself while drinking something so he banned it. No unnatural hair colors, except for Lily, who dyed her hair the school color, maroon. It was dark enough to argue it was a weird red/brown, but it was clearly maroon and I think she got away with it because it was school spirit. A kid went to the hospital after falling from a wall. Then the school painted yellow lines around the school as a border which the kids weren't allowed to cross. So the teachers had to stand guard and make sure no one crossed it. Conservative Christian college. A group of us played Age of Empires one weekend. They didn't like it and called a meeting. Everyone involved got misdemeanors on their records. There was nothing in the handbook about it being against the rules. The only person that didn't get any punishment was the son of the president, even though he was just as involved as the rest of us. Was quite interesting explaining the write-up on my record when I transferred. You got a misdemeanor for what? There was a all-girls school near my house where they had a rule about what color underwear you had to wear and would have the girls stand on the stairs so they could check by looking up their skirts. I think that stopped in the late 90s. Elementary school principal banned talking at lunch. If you were caught talking or even signing to someone, you had to go sit by yourself on a folding chair with no table. There was once my mom came to eat lunch with my older sister and I. The principal was like, "Oh, you should go eat out in the hallway with your daughters," and she was like, "Nah. I'm gonna sit here with my daughter and her friends and talk to them and enjoy their presence." Usually if a parent came for lunch, the student could invite one friend to join, unless you had siblings. Then it was too many people, so you couldn't invite a friend. Anyway, one of my older sister's friends whispered to my mom that she was going to move so she wouldn't get in trouble for talking. This was a 9-year-old. My school made it compulsory to wear uniform in online classes. We weren't allowed to have personal drinks in classroom unless we had doctor's note. Thanks for listening. Subscribe for more daily videos.